When was the last time you said to yourself you need to seriously make a change in your life? What prompted you to make a change? Was there someone in your life who had a life-changing impact on you? I believe all changes happen due to the feedback we get from each other. Some feedback might be ego-oriented, making us feel better, encouraging positive types of behavior, and increasing our self-confidence. While constructive feedback promotes change and gives us direction as to what steps to take next. In my practicum experience, I got to teach a kindergarten class. What I noticed in all kindergarten class was that all teachers utilize colorful sticky notes to record anecdotal notes on student behavior, interactions, and performance. My associate teacher told me later that this was how to evaluate students at kindergarten level. Even during outdoor activity or play and learn time, teachers would carry a clipboard covered with sticky notes and constantly document on students' progress, triumphs, achievement, and areas to improve. It was expected that one student would go on one post-it note, so when it was time to do report card, it was easier to organize and sort them by name. Putting a date and a short comment about context of activity was important to include to make the process easier. It seemed like a simple system, but the effect was immense. It gave teachers a way to know students better, and recognizing which students are missing feedback, you can focus more closely on those students the next day. It helped teachers to allocate their time and attention evenly throughout each student. One of the benefits of using post-its is by being attentive to changes in development of students, you can find out if students are struggling, need more help, or are having a rough time at home or at school. Also, by observing, we can get to know students' thinking abilities and what they are wondering about daily. As I mentioned before, there are two types of feedback. Ego-oriented comes from students' position, is vague, and does not carry a lot of meaning. Whereas task-centered is specific, outcome-driven, and forward-moving. When you see a student excelling in a subject, praising the student motivates them to work harder. However, if you see a student lacking in some abilities, giving them honest and straightforward feedback can make all the difference. Students might not agree with them at first, but it can have a life-changing impact in the long run. Therefore, we should keep trying to give feedback that will make them grow and move forward. In addition, just as teachers monitor students all the time, we have to keep in mind students watch us as well. Therefore, sticky notes put on cabinet door or on clipboard is a reminder that we gotta be a role model to students at all times. In addition, professional advisory duty report states that it is our responsibility to always model behavior that aligns with the standards of practice for the teaching profession and the ethical standards for the teaching profession. The standards require all teachers to make students' well-being and learning a priority and impact their lives through positive influence, professional judgment, and empathy in practice. Also, we have to remember that poverty can lead to nutritional, emotional, and safety needs, and these needs need to be addressed before academic needs. Not every student has a role model at home that they can look up to, or not every student's family are financially well off to afford healthy lunch, school supplies, and clothing. Kind acts like asking students how their day is going, checking to see if they've eaten their lunch, whether the student brings supplies to every class, or checking to see if you see holes in student's shirt can be a good way to show them that you care for them. For children of immigrant families that have just moved to Canada, or for refugee students, Since they would not have yet acquired English language abilities, it would be even harder for them to adjust to life in Canada. I have to be mindful that some refugee students might be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder or can be experiencing identity crisis due to the immigration to a new country. As a teacher, I would keep a close eye on them, assist them when necessary, and can also pair them up with a student who has demonstrated good language skills so new students can improve their language abilities. Also, documentation can be a helpful resource to go back to when you start noticing a student lagging behind, having a behavioral problem, who doesn't eat, or who misses a class a lot. It can be a sign to indicate something is going on in their life, such as family problems, bullying, abuse, neglect, mental health issue, anxiety, and depression. According to an article by Parquet, some signs to look for include unexplained bruises, burns, or sore throats, inappropriate fear of a parent, wariness of physical contact, inconsistent explanation for injuries, poor hygiene, and untreated injury and illnesses. Documentation can also be helpful to show positive changes in students, such as when a student makes more friends, starts to participate more, engages in learning more actively, and has less behavioral problems. As a teacher, we need to practice reflexivity to understand our own biases and prejudices, and show empathy to work towards equity and diversity, while encouraging inclusion. According to the article by Ryan, in order to be reflexive, we have to be introspective. Through this process, we can investigate our interactions and study our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, which will help us attain normative states of a vision of what ought to be. By practicing hyperreflexivity and challenging existing praxis, we can improve current state of our education. It would help immensely if all teachers develop the habit of documenting on students' behaviors or achievements daily. This routine would help a lot of teachers when it comes to do report cards and having a parent-teacher conference. The most important thing is to put students first. Students' needs, interests, their development, and growth. If you do it for the love of your students, they will see the result in the end. I believe best feedback will ignite something in students' hearts on its way. It should mean something to them, and that's the way it should be.